melibatkan peer self FYP assessment using workshop KeLIP. Dan kita cukup bertuah hari ini, kita didatangi penceramah daripada Universiti Malaysia Pahang, ya, teknologis Aziman bin Abdullah. Terima kasih kerana sudi hadir dan berkongsi ilmu berkaitan this so-called online assessment lah. Yeah. Dan sedikit biodata dan ataupun latar belakang penceramah kita pada hari ini. Dan untuk makluman semua, ya, Dr. Asar bin Abdul Karim tidak dapat hadir kerana ada sedikit masalah kesihatan. Beliau tidak dapat hadir, jadi daripada pagi ini sampai ke sesi akhir petang ni akan dibawa oleh TS Aziman bin Abdullah. Okay, sedikit latar belakang mengenai penceramah kita pada hari ini. Teknologis Aziman bin Abdullah merupakan pensyarah Fakulti Komputeran Universiti Malaysia Pahang, telah berkhidmat di UMP sejak awal penubuhan dan banyak terlibat dalam proses pembangunan, penyampaian dan pemantauan kurikulum di UMP. Beliau pernah dianugerahkan anugerah pengajaran cemerlang di peringkat UMP pada tahun 2011 dan pernah berjaya dicalonkan ke peringkat akhir Anugerah Akademik Negara 2018. Beliau juga merupakan salah seorang ahli panel penilai MQA untuk sains komputer sejak 2010. Minat beliau dalam reka bentuk kurikulum dan teknologi digital mendorong beliau membuat kajian, mencari kaedah, mencipta dan mengguna pakai sistem perisian bagi menyampaikan pengajaran dengan lebih berimpak, dalam erti kata memenuhi falsafah pendidikan negara. Jadi tanpa membuang masa, saya serahkan bengkel ini, sesi ini kepada yang berusaha, teknologis Aziman bin Abdullah. Dipersilakan.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi semua. Saya rasa rasa gabra pula. Sebab awal perbincangan saya dengan sahabat saya Dr. Suhailan, saya cadang untuk conduct secara hands on. Sebab saya ni orang hands on. Universiti teknikal dia mesti hands on lah, kan? Tapi sebelum hands on kita kena heads on jugalah. Bukan hands on tapi kan kita tak faham pun, kita buat je. Okey, saya tak sangka pula dalam keadaan macam ni. Jadi agak teruja. Walau bagaimanapun dalam keadaan kita berhadapan COVID ni kan, saya rasa inilah cara yang sesuai. Dengan orang tak ramai tapi tempat besar. Sebelum saya mulakan, saya nak dapat sedikit maklum balas. Is there any expatriate here that I need to use English or should I use Malay? Is there any expatriate here? Okay, yeah. So we're gonna do our session in English. Bear in mind, I'm not that good. Forgive me for my not so good English, but I try my best to deliver. So at the end of the day, you can get something that useful enough for your teaching course. Okay, I would like you to enroll the course that I already designed for this session in your LMS. So, okay, if you could, okay. I just find out that there are different LMS for different faculty, right? So I would like you to go to this URL, this one, for this one, and then log in with your own credential, your own account. and find my course workshop Citra here. So this is hidden. Okay, I need to. It's already show. Okay, can you enroll in this course? Because all the materials, activity, I already put it there. So this session will have no notes, no lecture, maybe some lecture, I'm now lecturing, but I'm trying to less doing on that. Less note, but there are original reference already there, already put there. I'm not sure that whether I'm capable to conduct this whole day session because initially I planned with two presenters, but if we manage to get the outcome of this session, of this workshop by noon, so we can, I can go back to Pahang by noon. So you can, the most important is getting the outcomes, right? Okay. Saya dah bagi. I already distribute. We have 1 day session. So the first session after, suppose we start at 9, right? Suppose. So now it's 9:30. So maybe we can go a little bit, delay after that. So the first is getting started. Oh, tak nampak Oh, tak boleh masuk, tak boleh enroll. Oh, tak jumpa kat mana? Okay, first can you go to kelip.uniza.edu.my. Ni orang Uniza ni. And then you go to this pusat pengajian teras. Okay, and click enter. Right, click enter, and then you need to log in with your credential, with your account. And then because I already enrolled in this course, you not yet enrolled, so you need to find this course. Right. What is my course? My course is workshop at Citra 2020. Okay. Okay, can you, do you found it? Workshop at tak tahu pula ni jarak ke tak jarak ni. Could you just type Citra 2020? So, anything with Citra 2020 should have appear, right? You found it? Okay. And then enroll. Enroll key Citra 2020. If I'm not mistaken, let's check. Is it correct? Right. Okay. Boleh? Okay, so the first step, success. Hands on lah tu. Betul? Alright. Dapat? Okay, can you search Citra? Oh ni, yes. Enrollment key is Citra 2020. Yes. tak enroll lagi kan? Dia tak enroll lagi, tak keluar. Dia Okey, ada masalah? Kalau ada yang berjaya, that mean it should work. Okay. Right. Search. Okay. Click and then you search Citra 2020. 2020. Okay. Yes, just try enter. Okay, workshop tutorial MP. Okay, enrollment key Citra 2020. Search Citra 2020. Rapat tak apa. Try. You type and search, tekan button. Citra. Cuba type Citra je. Kenapa orang nak cari jumpa? Okay, you need to log in through PSK, right? Bukan. Okay, I think some of you log in through your faculty LMS, right? So I just find out that you have multiple LMS in one university. So like me in MP, we have one single LMS. So all students, even all staff already register in that one single LMS. So you need to go to here to this one, Pusat Pengajian Trust. Because my course has been created in that so-called LMS. Okay? So you need to log in through that LMS. Once you log in, you need to search here, type Citra 2020. So you will find out a workshop from UMP, something like that. Enroll, and the enrollment key is Citra 2020. Once you enroll, then you can see like what has been displayed on the screen. Okay, let's see who already enrolled. Okay, so we have views, right? Okay, 72 minus 1, me, 71. So we have 71 participants so far who successfully enrolled this course. Okay. Before we begin, may I have a hand? How many of you have adopt self-assessment and peer assessment in your course? We know that we have assessment like test, assignment, quiz, and so on. How many of you have done, self-assessment and peer assessment? You do peer assessment. How about self-assessment? Not yet. Okay, good. We have the key or foundation is, this is about heads on first. The philosophy, the rationale, the purpose, the theory, the basic, the reason, the big why. We must have that thing first, not just hands-on. Okay, everybody please follow what I'm trying to show. Click there and there and there. It will not lead you to become an effective educator. I'm not saying that I'm an effective educator, but I'm trying my best to be effective. Why? I want to save my time. I want to give the impact to the student, right? Not to give impact, but I have to sacrifice a lot of my time and effort, doing more. But I'm not sure whether, student getting more impact or more stress, right? So we have to be very effective. For me, I'm in that kind of, line. Other than that, if you want to expect me to do more, but the result, outcome is the same, I will not do it. Right? I will not do it. Because why should I do more, but the result is the same? Right? So, I mean the outcomes, the impact on the student is more or less the same. I'm keep doing final exam, for example. I'm not saying that final exam is not good. It depends on you. But for my course, the subject that I'm teaching data analytics and visualization. So I think it's quite not so smart to ask students to capable to visualize things on paper. Because I'm teaching computer science student. So you must use tool. Final exam, not effective. So I discard it for my course. So I'm trying to do like something more project, final report, for them to report something that they have learned, to see whether they have impact on the learning or not. So what I can see, I can compare the result. Yes, there's some impact. Okay, so let's go on that things before we go to real, actual using workshop. Okay. Okay. How many of you still having problem to enroll? Okay, no hands. That means everybody successfully enroll, and let's see how many. Okay, I have 80 people on the floor enroll based on these numbers. So I don't need to count everyone, right? So I just based on numbers. Komputer jangan menipu lah, kan? Komputer jangan menipu. Okay, so okay, quite good numbers. Okay, how many of you have go through this called framework? Digital competency for educator. It's a kind of framework developed by European Union. So it's not a single person kind of work. It's a collaborative work across European Union, right? Developing a framework to develop digital competency specifically for educator. How many of you have you gone through this, glance through, read this framework? I just recently find out, not recently, but during COVID last time, right? Because UMP say that, okay, no class, no teaching and learning during COVID. Nak buat apa kan? So okay, we have time to do some little study. So I try to find out, okay, I found this quite very interesting and useful. I believe if you have a soul as educator, you gonna like and love this thing. Right, because it's very useful as a guide, guiding. For me, I just recently find out that I think, okay, this is not new. This is really a few years back, but I just find out. So okay, all right. So I miss a lot of things there that I should do in my class. Okay, so you can download this framework free. So I already put the link there. You can click and then access it. I'm gonna go very quick at a glance. Okay, our session, our workshop, about workshop in LMS or so-called Moodle, basically is about assessment. It's about assessment. So you can ignore or not ignore. You can omit in this session about other things. Just focus on item number 4, assessment. Right. You must have a strategy. This model, this framework is for educator. That means if you want to be an effective educator, according to European Union Digital Competency Framework for Educator, on the assessment part, you must have a strategy. Okay, not just doing over and over and over and over whatever the outcome is, just keep doing it, right? Okay, nobody complain it, right? Okay, some students get A, some students, fail, some students, yes, average. This is normal distribution. Okay, talking about normal distribution, I would like to share you my experience that how I, fighting the norm, right? Fighting the norm belief. You know what? This normal distribution, I'm not a statistical expert. I don't know much about I took statistics during degree, but I'm not the expert. Okay. Many of us, if not here, believe that everything should be normal. That's wrong. Normal distribution applies when you doing things in a random. Student going to the university, our student going to the university is not by random, by selection. Taking the field of the study with this requirement for entrance requirement, whatever, it's not by random. It's by highly selective. Student register and choose our course. It's not by random. It's by registration. So the rule of normal distribution cannot be applied. So anyone who believes in that, you should be aware that you are believing in the fake belief. So I fight this in my board of examination in faculty. People question me why many students get A. So I ask back, is it wrong? It should be normalized. So I find out why it should be normalized. Then I study a little bit about statistics. So it's like whatever I'm doing best to improve student learning outcome, suddenly it's useless if everything go back to normal. Right, so don't do anything. Yes, it's gonna be normal. So I managed to break down this fake belief in my faculty. So whenever people ask me, why many students get A? I have the secret recipe. Why? Because students need to submit the draft 2 times before they submit the final one to me. How? By doing peer and self-assessment. Right. As a lecturer who designed a coursework, accept the test, okay? Test or exam. You cannot disclose the schema, right? Then it's not a test. But when you design an assessment, so-called like assignment, you must come out with a marking criteria. Maybe some of you call it rubrics. Maybe some of you call it marking guide. You must disclose, enclose together with your handout. If you don't do this, that's why students cannot deliver what you expected, because you don't provide your expectation in written clearly together with the handout, your assessment handout. An assessment handout, you cannot give it, today I'm going to distribute assignment. Okay, the submission is tomorrow. That's wrong. That's wrong. Have you considered the SLT, student learning time? Or you have calculated, but you distribute, today, and then you expect delivery tomorrow. That's wrong. When is the right time you should provide or distribute your assessment handout? When? The first day of the class. So that means you need to do the preparation, designing your assessment. If you need to do vetting among your subject matter expert, whether this is appropriate or not, the level of complexity is right or wrong, is it too much SLT, is appropriate or whatever, is it meeting the learning outcome, or the learning outcome is something else, but student need to deliver something else. This process must be done before you distribute. Okay? This is about heads on first. Okay? Heads on first. Doing it with purpose. Okay? So, if you see that, you must have a strategies. You need to analyze the evidence. Okay, how many of you analyze the data that you got, the mark you give to the student, you do the analysis? Your analysis is just, not good. Oh, very good. So. That's not analysis yet. That's a judgment. Analysis is, okay. For example, for the first topic, you deliver by using through lecture. You keep talking and give slide and notes, whatever, and then somehow you give an assessment for students, maybe to write a summary of what have they learned. And then when you assess, giving the mark, you find out, for this concept, most students didn't grab it. They just keep copy and paste whatever being stated in your notes. Particularly tests. an exam. Right. If student write 100% precisely according to your note, this is brilliant. No, according to me, because that's probably student just memorize it, they didn't, make sense of what they learn. It's pretty difficult to. But have you analyzed that? I can bet that not many people do that. Item by item. We call it item analysis, to see which part that most student or which student are lacking on. So you can offer. Next step is feedback. According to the book that I read, most educator is very lack in providing constructive feedback. I'm not saying you, the book that I read said, right? To some degree, I can agree with it, because after reading that book, I realized that's my mistake. I realized this is the sin that I have made without I really aware. Mengajar ni bukan senang sebenarnya. Ingat pergi masuk ke pergi lecture nota, okay. That's it for today. Right, see you next week. Rupanya salah. Itu saya dululah. When I wear that one, I think tak boleh, tak berkat ni, rezeki dapat cara macam tak betul buat kerja ni. Betul tak? Kalau kita tak tahu kita buat salah, tak apa. Itu boleh dimaafkan. Sebab kita tak tahu. Kita jahil. Betul? Tapi kalau kita tahu benda tu salah dan kita buat juga, saya tak tahulah nak cakap apa. Kan? So for me, I cannot settle. No, I cannot just be silent and keep doing, even I know that's wrong. So, okay, the rest you can refer later on. Okay, you can refer. There's a lot nak baca ni tak habis ha. So, okay, itu yang pertama. Ini daripada kita panggil European Union framework lah. Okay. The next is about assessment literacy. Do you think to be literate about assessment is only the needs for lecturers, or students also need to be literate about conducting assessment? Not doing assessment, student memang dia kena buat assessment, betul tak? But be literate about assessment. We are talking about student also need to be literate. If student need to be literate, lecturers or educators, you not at that literate. You need to be competent, higher level of student. You cannot just be literate. Of course, by default, you must be literate. But if we check ourselves, apa itu assessment literacy? Pun tak tahu. That means we may not yet literate. So what we have done before this is jawab. Orang buat, kita buat. Assessment kan? Buat macam ni, kena ada format, gini, buat, gini. So that's it. That's it. Itu je lah. We may not yet be literate. Okay, so what is assessment literacy? You can find out from the link that I give, provide there. Okay. Adalah sini. Reference dia. Tak keluar suara
Well, students are the people who experience the learning. These are the people who can best advise us about what it is that they need.
One of the advantages of working with students is they've got this sort of ear to the ground. They're the sort of ethnographers in a sense. They're hanging about, hearing what's going on, and their perceptions are quite attuned to student needs.
So by involving them, we are, as it were, getting the best source of information we can. We're also working with them because they're the great change agents.
The whole student engagement agenda has been a revelation to me personally, because what I've come to recognise is how much students have to offer to those of us who have been teaching all our lives and working in education all our lives, in terms of working with us to improve what we give to students.
I think what FastTech represents really is an attempt to work with students on a common area of challenge and problem in a community. It's about engaging this key stakeholder in an empowering process where their agency is recognised as important.
Well, we want genuine change from these programmes. One of the ways that impact is assessed is by the students themselves. They're trained in conducting social and education research, so they can produce an intervention for their course or for the university and then measure the impact on students of that.
It was a chance to be in on the ground floor of something really, really interesting and a project that was kind of going to revolutionise the way that student engagement and partnership was thought about. We have online assessments, we have blogging as part of it, we had something called a virtual seminar, and they like to see and encourage really creative uses of technology. And students are incredibly creative.
I co-manage the Student Fellow Scheme at the moment, so I'm very involved with that, and we also co-fund it, so half student union, half university. So it's co-managed, so myself as the union and then Dr. Stuart Sims as the university. And then we're setting up loads of partnerships, so it's completely down the middle, 50-50 students and staff working together in partnership.
Tom obviously is a greater point of contact for the students. They're more familiar with Tom, he's very visible on campus, he has access to a lot of the networks that they're already familiar with, whereas we can bring expertise in like research training, more contact with the staff to set up the staff-student partnerships that are intrinsically valuable to how this project works.
It's actually given academics a chance to risk in a safe space. Using technology is risky, it's time-consuming, there's a hump of learning that needs to take place. And I think where students came in was with their familiarity, their expertise, their willingness to try things.
It takes you a little bit out of your comfort zone doing something like that. You're having to try and encourage both the students and the faculty to get on board with the idea, and it's led to opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
Our work with Student Fellows has informed the direction that the university takes. It's really been quite transformative. It's one of the best experiences of my career so far, really.
The major win, I think, that Winchester has benefited from FastTech is having that awareness of how powerful Student Fellows can be.
From 8 we went to 60 student fellows. So I just think it's one of the most exciting things I've ever been involved in terms of its acceleration and embedding in an institution. And it started small.
Okay, how many of you have experience when you design your assessment, you are discussing that design of assessment with your student? You treat your student as a partners. How many have you done that? I think it's very difficult to find out, right? Because we keep secret, right? Right. Yes, we don't do that to design the test item, the exam question with student. We don't do that. Right. Yes, that's why if you do exam and test, there are many limitations that you cannot do wonders or magic. But if you do kind of coursework, like a project, assignment, written assignment, hands-on design things, whatever, right? So you can, you know, have a discussion with student, probably former student who already take that course, right? Okay, who really show some deep interest, have some passion about it, okay, have, you know, discuss with them, hey, what kind of challenge that we can do for my course next semester? This is the way that we should do with our student, treating them as a partners. Co-design the assessment. Co-design the assessment. Alright, so tadi GISC, EU, GISC, and then let's go. Okay, yang ni from Australia. Okay, this is for me, it's kind of guide, but Australian, some kind of proposing come out with a standard, the assessment standard, ada standard. Tapi Australia lah. But I think it's no harm for us to learn from others, right? So dia dekat. Okay, dalam ni, I nak highlight ni je. I would like to highlight, okay, these 6 tenets. Okay? Look at the section 2, assessment standards, a manifesto for change. So the tenet 1 is assessment for learning, and goes on to 6. All right. So we need to design assessment that making the assessment work for learning. So-called, we call it formative assessment, right? Coursework, right? Final exam is actually summative. It is assessment of learning. Masa tu kita tak boleh buat apa dah hujung dah. But during the progressing, period, this is the critical moment that, as an educator, we need to observe individual student, whether they are going this, or they are going this, or they are going the same at a low level, right? So we need to observe this trend. So that's the first one. Details you can refer on. I just want to highlight, okay? Highlight this first session to give you an overview why we need to start thinking, rethinking, rethinking about how we do things. I'm not saying that what we are doing, what I have done before is wrong, but if we keep doing the same over and over, but expect the result is different, probably Einstein is correct. There's a fool, right? It's a fool that you keep doing the same and expect things gonna be different. Einstein cakap lah. Okay, we already see outside, dekat luar kan, European Union buat apa, UK buat apa, kan, Australia buat apa, okay, US banyak lagi kalau nak refer ni banyak. Okay, kita tengok dekat kita punya yang mana effectively kita kena refer lah. How many of you refer to this guideline of good practice for assessment of student from MQA? How many of you, this is your first time look at this? So not first time, that's me good. You have seen it before. Whether you use it or not, that's another story lah. Right, okay. Okay? Ada mention tak self-assessment? Ada? Ada. So dalam MQA dokumen ada. So kalau nak buat, salah ke? Kalau tak ada pun tak salah. Tapi kalau dah ada tak buat, macam tak kena lah. Betul? Kalau dah, it's being clearly highlighted there, but yet, we just keep doing things over and over the same, like, dah 20 tahun dah I mengajar ni, betul tak? Macam ni je, nak ubah apa lagi? Right? Saya merayu lah. We need to do better. Not for us, for the future generation. That's all. That's our role. Our obligation, our duty, our job, our task. Tak buat, tak betul lah. Sebab kita dibayar gaji macam tu. Right? So, we need to do better than that. Alright. Self-assessment already been mentioned, written, stated clearly in the... This is not a standard. This is just a guide. Okay? Written by not somebody, I think somebody, but not only one person. So it's collectively been discussed with panel. Okay. Now it's time for you to... Okay, can you click the self-check icon dekat dalam tu? Ada dalam tu kan, bawah tu ada self-check kan? Oh yes, this one, self-check. Self-check. Okay, self-check. This is a simple quiz that I made. Come out from all the reference that I just highlight just now. So can you just answer it? Don't worry if you get it wrong. No harm for doing that, right? Just doing it, Yes, now, this is one of example. We call it self-assessment. Look at yourself, not look at yourself. Put yourself dalam topi pelajar. Right, I'm the teacher who conduct this session. So you are student. So one example of implementing self-assessment is through kind of objective items, right? Macam quiz ke apa semua. Ni contoh self-assessment. Contoh saya buat, self-check, salah, buat lagi. Kan? Sampailah, you jumpa ya, betul. Kan? So, in quiz, in your LMS or Moodle ni, yang people pakai sama, when you design a quiz, you can put a feedback. Right? If it's wrong, then you can say whatever you write there. Or maybe you can put a link for further reading, maybe. Right? If it's right, you can say, of course, something else lah, good ke, great ke, well done ke, whatever, right? So use this as an instrument for you to institutionalize self-assessment in your course. Ini salah satu. Apa yang you buat ni adalah self-assessment. So you can do this in your course. Saya dah lama lah tak ambil markah kuis ni. Dulu masa awal-awal excited buat e-learning ni kan. Memang boleh kata tiap-tiap minggu ada kuis. Kan? Ambil 1%. Last sekali saya kata, ini tak berapa bagi impact, rugi saya bagi markah 1%. Sebab bila saya bagi 1%, saya dah kurang 1%. Tinggal 99. Saya nak bagi projek ni besar ni projek ni. Betul tak? Takkan buat projek dah assignment 20%, kuis 10%, assignment ni pula projek tinggal 20%. Tak boleh. Projek besar. Projek kita kena allocate at least 35, 40. Okey, saya kena buang lah yang ni, buang yang assessment yang low impact ni kan. Kuis tak ada dah. Kelas saya tak ada kuis dah. Orang lain sibuk buat kuis. Sebab apa? Automatic kan. Online, automatic. Saya tak ada buat kuis. Sebab apa? For me, this is just exercise. Okey? Sebab rugi saya nak bagi yang high impact assessment ni. Buat project and final report. Kena allocate a good weightage supaya berbaloi. Pelajar akan buat sungguh-sungguh. Kalau projek memang banyak kerja tapi markah 15%, budak memang dah tak apalah. Buat lebih kurang pun 15 je. So in return, I don't get a high quality work from student. Because that's the way we design it. So I dah tak guna quiz sebagai assessment. Guna tapi macam ni lah, self-check. This is not going to give you any mark, right? But it's sufficient for you to know where you are. That's all. Attempt unlimited, right? Nothing to do with the mark. Gunalah. So this is also a kind of self-assessment. Student assessing themselves. Assessment doesn't mean that it must contribute some mark in our system for grading. Not necessary. But it indicates some data. Measurement, right? Data tu kita tak ambil untuk dikira sebagai markah. Tak apa. Tapi it produce some indicator. That assessment. Jangan nampak assessment yang mesti dikira markah. Not necessary. Okay? So there are only, I think, 6 questions, right? 6, right? So you need to make sure that you get 5 over 6, otherwise you cannot do the next activity. This is how we play the game. Student, when you put this kind of restriction or requirement, right, they will work out. Macam contoh, saya set restriction dalam you punya LMS pun sama, model ni dah ada dah benda tu. To submit the final submission, you need to submit the draft first. But the draft will not carry any mark. It's just a sufficient for me to indicate your progress. Just submit anything. If you don't have anything, at least you create Microsoft Word punya ni, save as, and then submit attach tu kan. That's it. So I know that, okay, at that point of time, that's your progress. Fail to submit this one, you cannot submit the final actual assignment submission. Because I put this constraint. Sudah kan buat. Dia buat bila? Masa nak submit final tu, dia submit yang ni dulu. Submit dah done, okay, baru submit yang ni. Kita tahulah siapa main game kan. Okay, student ni pattern ni last minute punya pattern. Alright. Sebab time submit yang draft dengan yang final ni beza 2-3 minit je. Right. So we know system will not lie, but we know okay, this is last minute kind of student. But let's take a look on the quality wise. Wow. Even last minute the quality is good. Why? Probably because the marking criteria is very clear. Student know exactly what you expected, right? So, great. Alright, done? Dah siap. Kita tengok apa analisa dia. Okay, saya mention tadi item analysis, right? Data on the assessment we need to analyze, right? So by conducting online assessment macam quiz ni kan, saya marking tak you all? Tak kan? Sebab yalah kalau multiple choice objektif ni kita boleh buat macam ni. It's very efficient. So that numbers yang kat bawah tu, that actually the figure that you need to pay attention on. It shows on average what is the student performance in our class in a group kind of analysis. So if you want to go which one student who don't answer correctly, you can scroll up later on. But if there are quite bad figures on that items, that's how you should reflect, and then you may need to re-emphasize in your next teaching session, whether in the lab, whether in the lecture. If you keep lecturing, in the lecture you need to maybe revisit it, right? That items, that particular topics. Macam saya dah tak lecture sangat lah. Tu yang jadi kekok sikit lecture ni. Because University Technical, we for me, I'm trying to do less talking, but not to say that not talking at all, right? Communication, yes, we need to communicate, but don't talk too much. Let's do something. Let's do something. So my course, like I teach data analytics and visualization. So half of the semester is about doing project. So I put my role as a consultant for my student to advise. Okay, for this project you should do this way. So at the end, it's actually it's about creating dashboard, creating analysis, visualization, creating dashboard on specific problems students need to choose based on their preference. So I'm just coaching, advising, consulting students. All right, so I think that's it for the first session. So maybe we need to take a break. So we start 9:30, 10:30 we 1 hour we take a break. You mungkin okey je duduk kan. Saya rasa nak habis sampai ke petang ni duduk garu kepala juga ni, kata bateri takut collapse lah. Okay, I think let's take a break 15 minutes, right? So if you need to go to restroom, you can go, you may go. Okay, until we start at 10:45. Okay, 10:45 we start. The next is using workshop. Okay, using workshop. Apa dia? Okay, how many of you have used quiz in your LMS? Okay, so there are few settings, because this is I just not there are settings that you can allow when the student or the user who attempt or answer the quiz should able to see the result. Setting, edit setting, general, not timing. Open it doesn't. No. Create. No. Layout. No. Question. Okay. Show. Defer feedback. Oh, okay, here. Okay, so review option, so you can disclose immediate after. Let's say this is just a self-check, right? So it should behave like immediate or real time. So during the attempt, whether, okay, mark, attempt, right answer, specific feedback. Okay, let's take everything. Right. Immediate, immediate. After the attempt, save and display. So could you refresh your page? Then you're supposed to able to see which answer is the right one. Lama tak guna kuis ni. dependent. Yang ni you tak settle yang ni, you tak boleh buat ni. Saya pun design macam tu. Tapi quiz ni memang saya tengah kalau buat quiz rugi pula dekat projek. Pemberat dia tu kan maksudnya. Tak boleh. Sebab quiz ni dia macam probably this is the best way sebab dia kan, tapi takkanlah dia nak buat projek yang orang kata lagi ganas daripada disiplin bidang tu kan. Ya, itu ini paling praktikal lah. Ada pensyarah dari fakulti IT tak? Komputer? Ada? Ada? Ramai? Ramai. Fakulti komputer ni patut jadi apa? Role model lah. Betul tak? Kalau tak, malu sikit kita ni. Betul tak? Tak apalah, kita share-share lah. Kawan saya Dr. Asar tu, dia bukan orang komputer, dia ustaz. Mengajar, kita panggil kursus, kita panggil MPU, mata pelajaran umum. Tapi sangat terbuka dari segi orang kata nak buat kerja yang macam ni lah. Dia quite apa? Sebelum ni, sebelum ada pertukaran kursus MPU kan, sebelum ni ngajar subjek TITAS. Dia TITAS kan. Berapa lama tahun TITAS ni kan. So 2 tahun lepas saya cadang buatlah ni lah, self and peer assessment. Dia pun buat gini-gini, and then student feedback pun agak puas hati lah. And we managed to publish some paper simple-simple je pasal apa, adopting digital rubric ni. Peer and self-assessment dalam ni kita kena ada rubrik. Nak buat rubrik ni, sekejap lagi saya akan tunjuk macam mana saya buat. Petang nanti you pula buat. Okay? petang nanti you kena tunjuk cara you buat, dan you kena hantar evidence tu sebagai assignment you. Oh, ada outcome, betul. Outcome lah, outcome apa? Outcome ni habis bengkel ni sehari ke tengah hari ke, you pandai nak buat self and peer assessment. Buat tu bukan buat klik jadi. Nak design tu kan apa, dan nak kita panggil apa, how to put in your LMS. Bila pandai tu maknanya lepas ni you boleh buat lah, ada hasil lah. Okay, I already regret the attempt, and you should able to see your right answer or wrong answer in your review attempt tu. In your review. Ni skrin pensyarah lah. Pensyarah dia boleh tengok lah kan, betul tak? Oh, ramai yang dapat full mark ni. Markah tinggi ramai. Yang ni mungkin tak jawab lah kot. Ni tak jawab. Okey. Dulu saya masa awal-awal dulu saya main dengan kuis ni, saya tengok, saya kita panggil macam impress lah. Tengok data dia semua, oh kita menarik lah. Saya cuba cari perkaitan antara tempoh masa menjawab dan juga CGPA pelajar. Oh, very interesting. Right, ada data, we can talk a lot lah. No data, no talk. Orang kata no money, no talk. Dengan saya, no data, no talk. With data, we can talk. So I try to find a correlation just using adopting a simple linear regression, right? Through to see whether is there a relationship between CGPA student with the duration as well as number of attempt. So if you open up, unlimited attempt, then student can try many attempt. So with that frequency of attempt, you can study the learning behavior. When you understand the behavior of students, particularly on learning, then you can design your learning and assessment strategy more effectively. The problem is we need to understand 100 students. Face to face ada memang tak lah, betul tak? Tak tahulah pelajar Uniza, pelajar UMP, kalau pelajar saya ni sekarang payah dah nak jumpa, datang bilik ni tanya-tanya tak ada, tanya kat WhatsApp je. Sir, tahu siapa sir, ini siapa ni? Tak tahu anak PE ke, pelajar kelas ke, alumni ke. Tak ada salam dah, mukadimah siapa saya ni tak ada dah. Sir, ni assignment hantar bila? Allah, assignment mana satu ni kan? Kalau kita ajar 2 subjek, tak tahu mana satu. Ni siapa? Hantu ke? Toyol ke apa? Kan? Maaf sir, baru ni. Macam tu pelajar sekarang. Kan? Zaman apa? Teknologi kan? Betul tak? Tak ada dah datang bilik, memang tak payah bilik besar-besar dah. Saya rasa tak payah bilik besar-besar, bilik sedang-sedang je nak letak barang-barang kita. Tak payah nak bilik besar, nak sudah datang tak payah, tak perlu dah. Zaman sekarang lah, itu yang saya experience lah. So, but they actually quite active in, concern about their course, their mark. Okay, I'm gonna show you a quick kind, not tutorial lah, quick demonstration how you can do what I told you just now. Is there any correlation between the time and the score? Sebab CGPA saya tak ada kan, you all. Saya ada apa data apa situ? Data score you dengan apa? Dengan tempoh masa. Betul? So let's take a look. So this data in a kind of qualitative one, betul? In format lah. So kita kena convert kepada quantitative data. 1 minit ni, let's say saya ambil minit lah, second-second ni saya tak ambil lah. Sebab tak ada pun yang jawab kurang daripada 1 minit. Oh ada, oh ni hebat ni. Ni mungkin pelajar pandai ni. 26 saat je. Okay, so let's see, we hide this one. Okay, this is what date, right? Date, so date. Kita hide juga. Kita nak ambil ni. So let's do some magic a little bit. Satu minit 60 saat kan? So kita kira 60 saat. So kita guna dalam unit saat lah. Okey, saya sudah dapat jumlah saat yang saya dah convert sikit pakai Excel ni. Convert, dan saya nak cari correlation dia dengan score. Right. So dalam Excel ni you pakai formula Corel je. Correlations between this one with this one. So negative. So insert recommended chart. Let's say this one. Trend line. Negative. Okay. Patutnya 1000 je. Berapa 1000? Lebih kurang macam tu lah. R square not good. So called tak ada relation pun. For this data set lah. Right, sebab apa? Semua lecturer kan? Lecturer pandai-pandai belaka. So that's how you can do a lot of things when you have data. Data, you want to get data is easily when you do it things in digital environment. Kalau you nak tanda apa, on paper ni kan, saya rasa tak adanya. Nak letak dalam Excel pula key in, tak ada lah kot. I don't think so. Alright. So this is the promising, or one of the promising things that you can do a lot when you do digital assessment. Alright. Semua dah ada ke? So let's go next on using workshop. Alright. Okay, in this session, okay. Otak. Oh, freeze. Screen dia freeze Organizer boleh tolong tak? dekat komputer saya okey ni, tak hang lah. Tapi dia apa, dekat projector dia macam freeze. So one of the activity that we're gonna do on this session is for you to assess your assessment design. Your assessment design. Okay, example. Kita tak mula kelas lagi kan, betul tak? Sam ni tak buka lagi, apa, student baru tak masuk lagi kan, betul? So kita tak ambil lah yang depan tu, yang dah buat previous semester. Do you have a handout, I mean assessment handout that you give to your student previous semester, or maybe previously in your computer? So that document, so you gonna upload it in this activity, and we're gonna let you assess whether that assessment fulfill and comply the criteria of the principle of good assessment design. If it is yes, it's okay. If it's no, then it's good to know that. Okay, it's not. Right. That's the whole thing about self-assessment. It's about, you know, how we evaluate ourselves and knowing what we can do better. If we're doing good, then we need to know whether we validate with a standard benchmark or standard criteria. We call it marking criteria for student, right? So student, kita tahu, we know that, okay, oh, we are doing correctly. Oh no, we're not. So if not, then we know that this part we need to improvise. And you also will assess your friends. And your friend also will assess your assessment design. Sebab saya nak suruh buat assignment assignment pasal komputer pula, nanti orang lain bukan bidang komputer tak boleh pula. Betul tak? But I can assure that all of you have done something for your course. Right. Which is, for me, I think I can have a confidence that most of you have asked student or give instruction for student to do maybe assignment. Right. So that instruction, right, or your so-called handout, the soft copy, right, the soft copy, you must have it in your computer, right? At least dalam Dropbox ke Google Drive ke whatever, and you need to upload that in apa yang saya set tadi situ, bukan assess your assessment design handout tu. Okay, dekat session 10 suku tu kan, betul tak? Assess your assessment design in bracket handout. So you cannot click, right? Why? So which activity that you didn't complete yet previously? Maybe. Boleh klik, you boleh submit. Okay. Self check, you dapat apa? You punya quiz. Dapat 5. You need to get I think 6. I think 6. I put 6 or apa. Kita kena game lah, betul tak? Okay, let me check. Here's assessment design, handout, edit setting, general grading, restrict access, mark complete. Oh, tak ada. Please select. Okay. Self-check. Okay. Activity completion. Self-check must be marked complete. Okay. Save and display. So dekat apa? Dekat self-check ni, kan? Self-check ni, edit setting. This activity will be complete when already complete mark. Sebab you dah buat. Tak boleh nak ni. Okay, I ignore je lah yang tu. Nanti lambat pula kita nak habis. Betul. Have you used this setting before? Course completion ni, task completion. It's very good to gamify your course. Macam saya cakap lah, student, you tak boleh submit final tu kalau you tak submit yang draft. Menyebab making student, they have to do that task. Right? But don't overdo it. Why? It require, student time, right? It's just draft. Let's say lah, I give assignment, the deadline is another 2 months. I need to check the next month, what is the progress. So submit the draft. If student did not submit this one, it will not affect the mark because the mark is based on the final one. But if you don't submit the draft, you cannot submit the final because the system does not allow you to do so. Which making student will submit the draft. And I need to explain this student during the first time that I distribute the handout. Make it clear, kind of condition. So if student did not submit during the 1 month later, it's okay. Let's say they want to submit the final one 2 months later. They cannot submit it until they submit this first. So they have to do this in order to submit the final. So by having this behavior captured in the system, then we know who are working in the last minute, right? And what is the outcomes? And we know who doing according, timely, and what is the outcome. Some student very good at the last minute. Very good. Sebab apa? Dia dah boleh tengok kawan-kawan lain punya. Kan? Macam tu. Okay, I remove lah ini. I remove this one. Edit setting. Okay, so there will be no restriction. So you can upload it. So could you please upload it? Handout. Just. Huh? Which one? Any assessment that you use for your course before. Not necessarily peer assessment and self-assessment. No. Yes, my instruction there is you're going to do self and peer assessment. You're going to do in this session, right, using workshop. In this session, this morning, before afternoon, your role as a student. Put yourself as a student. Now you are submitting your work, your assignment. What kind of assignment? Your assignment handout, your assessment design that you used in your class previously. Okay? So don't create a new one. Okay? Just use whatever you have. This is just a simulated kind of process. How you gonna through a process as a student when conducting self and peer assessment. If we cannot see that way, then we may not be able to design a process of learning that really making an impact to student, because we don't know how students go through. So we need to go through that first. I have experience using this one at the first time. When I first experimenting using self-assessment. I don't know whether it's a system kind of limitation or is it my configuration in workshop. I'm not really sure about that. What happened is, when I asked students to submit, there are few students who did not submit the handout, the work, the assignment, documents. So in workshop, in model, you need to go. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phases that the lecturer need to know. First, they need to set up first, okay, the assessment form and the instruction or whatever, and then they need to click to the submission phase. So now the system is ready to accept the submission. Once everybody submit, or you want to go to the next level, next phase is actually doing the assessment. Then no longer submission can be done. So that's the design of the process in LMS model. So what happened is, if student did not submit, you need to switch back to the submission phase. Last time, the first attempt that I'm 3 years back trying to explore this stuff, because one student didn't submit and he want to submit, I need to switch back. And what happened? All the score assessed, yes, it's gone. Okay, so lesson learned. Lesson learned, you need to make sure that everybody submit. After deadline, sorry, sorry, you cannot submit because you have missed the deadline. But in assignment activity, you can counter, you can some kind of put some extension for specific student, granting, extension time for submit. That's okay. But in workshop, if you can switch back and that. But what happened to me last time, the first time, all the score, students do the self-assessment and peer assessment is being so-called like reset. Student need to do it again. Then, okay, student won't do it again because, right. So, okay, I take as a lesson learned that make sure that all students submit at the designated deadline. After that, you can just ignore it because the system cannot work that way. All right. So I'm not sure your system, can work in that way or not. Okay. Have you done submit your assessment design? Okay, expected 109, submitted 20 to allocate 20. Okay. Okay. So we have 70 something, right? 70 or 80 something number of participants. Done? Okay, you don't need to click the button export this page and no, don't need. You just need to upload the document, so that's it. So once it's appear in your page, right, it's being uploaded, and that's it. Okay, everybody done? So I'm gonna switch to the next phase. Once I'm switched, I can switch back, but it's gonna. I am worried that the score given by self-assessment activity based on the criteria will lose. So okay. So we have 32 submission out of 17 something. So who do not submit? We can know that, right? No problem. So never mind. Let's go to the switch next phase. Okay, assessment phase. If you refresh your page, right? If you refresh your page, you will see it also highlight in this phase, right? Okay, I didn't set yet who will assess who. Right, so how to do that? Click here, allocate submission. Okay, so you can do manual allocation, which is, I never use it. Why? I have 100 students. Right. If I have 5 students, I can do manually, no problem. But if you have many students, you may want to use random allocation. So each submission, you can choose whether it's per submission or per reviewer. Okay. So let's say per submission, there will be 5 reviewers. Okay. Participant can assess without having submitted anything. That means those who do not submit, they also can assess their friends. But they will not assess themselves because they don't submit anything. susah sangat dewan ni. Okay, let's continue. So we can configure the the self and peer assessment process based on this setting. Okay, at self-assessment, that means if you submit your work, you also can assess yourself. If you don't have submit anything, then of course you cannot assess, right? Because there's nothing for you to assess. Okay, save changes. So, all right, done. This is the magic part lah. Why? Because it already allocate who we submit. You know, at the end of the day, as long as one submission, there will be 5 reviewer or assessor, including themselves, self-assessment. So if you refresh your page, right, scroll down, right, yes, you can assess, you can click the assignment, the document submitted by your peers. Okay, right. That's the document that you need to review. Yes, because I put self-assessment. So you also can assess yourself. All right. All right. So you look at other people work and then go back to the page, previous page, look the button grade. Okay. Tak semestinya. Dia per submission tu ada 5. Per reviewer, you look at yourself as a reviewer. So you don't know who are the other 4 who assess your documents. After I complete it, then you know. Now you put yourself as a reviewer. So you may have 1 or you may have 2, you may have 3, you may have 4. It depends the total number of students, right? And the setting that I put, let's say 5. Just now I put 5, right? So per submission, there will be 5 reviewers. If there are many students, then probably one student may get 1 or 2. If less student, probably more. So because the engine work in a so-called random, but it's not a random basis. It must be based on parameter base lah, right? Number of student, right? And number of reviewer or per submission. Ya, seorang. Tapi orang ni dia akan di-assess oleh 5, termasuk diri sendiri. 4 orang lain. You seorang. 3 lagi tak tahu lah siapa. Random kan. Klik grade tu. Grade. Bukan dekat bawah tu. This one button. Assess. Okay. Grade pula. Assess. Okay, klik button assess. Klik button assess. Then what will show up is what? Assessment form, right? Assessment form. It should looks like this. For example, participant is reviewer of kita nak tengok reviewer. Okay, at reviewer, let's say Dr. Hatini, saya letak saya. Okay. Okay, just now I set myself to assess Dr. Hatini. Right. Betul ke? Dr. Hatini. Okay, assess. Then it will appear this assessment form. Okay, this is just a kind of not dummy, but it's actually from the guide that I highlight just now in the early session. Right, I just pull out few of the criteria, not all of them, just to simulate this process of self-assessing. So look at your friends or your assessment design. So just check whether this assessment is designed to focus student on learning. Yes or no? You may argue that why not we put Likert scale, right? Degree, agree, disagree. That will be, takes longer time for you to do things lah. Right? Ni macam you, kan? Strongly agree, right? Agree, not sure, right? Disagree, strongly disagree. Susah. Right. So let be clear. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no is very simple. If yes, put it yes. If no, no. And remark, comment dekat situ. Right. Okay. Can you complete this form? Later on, we're gonna do the feedback. This is your feedback. You tengok dokumen yang macam kita tengok student punya assignment lah, kan? Sudah hantar, kita tengok dokumen dia, kan? So this is one of tips for me that I would like to share with you, whether it's working or not. If you want to go fully digital, you need to put restriction. Don't ask student to write a written assignment, there's no limit. You can write, 100 pages or 20,000 words. And imagine you have 100 students. Assignment 1 and 2 and 3. You don't specify the limitation. You're gonna, hectic with, tired assessing. You need to put limit. So that's why your instruction must be very clear. For me, I ask my student to submit not more than 5 pages. More than 5 pages, I will deduct your mark. Student will comply. Trust me. Right. Not more than 5 pages in IEEE format. You submit in IEEE format, you got 1 mark. Other than format, no mark. Student will comply. Why? Because they want the mark. So when you be consistent and clear on that, you also, doing the assessment, very efficient, Not to say easy, but, because the format, it does matter. When it's consistent, then it's easy for you to grab where is the problem, where is the ideas, where is the critics, where is and whatever, right? But if the format is not consistent, then, reviewing 100 students' work, it's not going to be a pleasant experience. So you need to be... So if the format consists of mark, you put in the assessment form. Later on, I will show how to do this. Now, you do as a student. Afternoon, right? Lepas makan, you kenyang-kenyang. Okay. That, you pakai topi sebagai pensyarah pula. How to do like this. Now, experience as a student first. Okay, please complete this and the rest of other your friends, right? Those who do not submit, maybe not, they're not able to do the self-assessment, but I already said, maybe some of you will have hand out to assess. Okay, in the assessment form, it also provide attachment. Let's say, let's say, you punya komen ni kan, you malas nak tulis kan, betul tak? You nak rakam suara je. Tak pun rakam video, betul tak? You punya ni bla 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 bla, betul tak? And then you save that video or that audio, upload it. Yeah. Bear in mind, audio and multimedia or video data consume large storage space. So if everybody do that, then probably your server storage will out of storage lah. So be careful. Well, be cautious lah. Be cautious. At UMP, during PKP, whatever, you know, many lecturers start to get excited working with video presentation. I already done that a long time ago. Why? Because finding the right time and schedule for me to assess student presentation is very difficult. Very difficult. Ada clash ni lah, meeting. Student tak so it's very difficult finding the time schedule. And then there's no evidence. As I'm QA panel, then I kata, okay, yelah, I assess dia, tapi ada kat kertas je. Rubrik presentation kan. Mana presentationnya? Kalau macam ni, ramai orang boleh speculate ni. Right? Boleh apa? Boleh, yalah, bagi makan je lah kan. Sign, betul? Betul ke tak betul, tak tahulah. Tapi adalah dokumen kan. Dokumen ada, bukti tak ada. So, I'm not happy with this way of doing things. So I ask my student to do self-presentation. Self-presentation, submit that video only. So whenever I have time, I just look at the video and I assess based on the rubric. Submit. So evidence saya ada, assessment feedback pun saya ada. Kan? So and many lecturers start moving this way and then they upload in our LMS, then our LMS out of storage. But it's good thing. Why? We are fully utilizing our resources. So our ICT center need to find out the budget and looking for upgrading the server and whatever. So that's good. That's a good thing. But there are a few days that our LMS is being, frozen. Cannot use. Storage out of space dekat server. Why? Student uploading, particularly MPU, subjek umum. Because we have one single LMS, like you have, multiple LMS. That's another good thing lah. Kita satu je, semua kat situ. Upload subjek MPU yang ada 400-500 orang student semua nak hantar video, memang jam lah storage kan. Okay. Alright. Done? No. Orally, there's no evidence. When it comes to accreditation and audit, we talking about evidence. Right. So quality is about evidence. Assuring quality is also about evidence. Yes. Actually, when you do that in written, actually you don't have a lot of job keep explaining to student over and over to different students. Why? Because you have thoroughly see with your peers, panel, right? Okay, what do you mean by this? Okay, oh, it's not clear to you. Okay, you revise balik the wording, the sentence, right? To make it very specific and clear. What is the learning outcome you try to achieve in this assessment? Never mention. Just instruction. You need to write 1,000 words of blah, 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 blah about this blah, blah, blah. For what? We must align with the learning outcomes. So in the handout, you should explicitly mention what is the learning outcome will be assessed in this assessment. Particularly coursework lah, assignment, right? Project. Itu nama assessment saja, tapi tujuan dia tu, purpose is actually to achieve and measure the learning outcome. Yang tu you kena specific. So kalau tak ada, absent, no. If there is, yes. Simply yes or no. And then maybe you want to write some comment, right? With the association, recommendation. Okay, done? Can I switch to the next phase? You need to complete it first. Otherwise, complete? Okay. Cancel. Okay, this is my screen. So, for Hartini, let's say Hartini, for example, Dr. Hartini, she has done complete her self-assessment. Nampak 80 tu, kan? Saya tak buat tadi, betul? Dash. Hanif, peer assessment. Dia dah assess Dr. Hartini. Dr. Hanif dah assess Dr. Hartini. Dr. Nurul dah assess Dr. Hartini. Dr. Ras belum. Dr. Wan belum. Dr. Hazli dah. How many actually? Tu, per submission tadi. 5 campur dia sendiri 6. Betul? Sebab saya add manually saya. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Betul? 7. Tadi saya add manual kan saya. Sebab nak tunjuk form tu. So, untuk orang lain, per submission dia patut ada 6 lah. 5 orang lain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Betul? 5 from peers, 1 from self-assessment. Okay, the beauty about self-assessment is actually student will recognize where they lacking on. With condition. With condition. Yang ni hearts on. Kena jujur. Kena jujur. Bab jujur ni tak ada kitab lah nak suruh belajar. Macam mana nak jujur? Falsafah jujur, konsep jujur ni macam mana? Saya pun tak reti lah. Kena jujur lah. You need to be honest. If you want try to learn and improvise yourself instead of prioritize on the mark, then you will recognize. My experience, ada pelajar yang dia sangat bagus, tapi dia ni ada macam orang kata inappropriate humble. Saya rasa macam tak layak lah sir. Kalau letak skil 1 hingga 5 tu kan, dia patut dapat 5. Dia tak 3, 2. Kenapa? Dia rasa macam tak layak. Ada macam ni. Ada pula yang memang ni tak ada apa-apa pun ni. Kosong. Absent of the quality specification, tak ada. 5. Sebab apa? Bagi markah kan. Bagi markah, nak ini nak markah dapat markah tinggi. Dia tak tahu. Saya kata, ini bukan markah yang saya nak isi dalam sistem. Ini untuk you check yourself before you finally submit your, improvised version. You need to recognize where is your mistake. Ada pula jenis macam tu. Sebab dia nak markah, dia ingat, dapat markah ni. Dia ingat macam tu. So, there are many kind of ragam student. So, I think lebih kurang je student Uniza pun. Kan, macam-macam ragam. So, you need to bear in mind. But at the end of the day, we need to assure student recognize apa yang dia lemah untuk dia perbaiki. Peer assessment pula, dia boleh tengok, wah, yang bagus budak buat, macam ni bagus lah. Dia boleh belajar daripada orang lain. Plagiat tak? Plagiat kalau you tak code. Tapi kalau dia code, that is actually the academic work. We cannot just suddenly budak ni tahu semua benda dah tiba-tiba tahu kan. Some mesti from somewhere else. Learning from peers is one of the best way, I think, learning experience in university. That's why we have university. Kalau seorang je belajar kat universiti ni memang tak patut panggil universiti lah. Learning from peers. So they can learn the good and the bad sample, right? Teruknya, ni betul tak? Wah, dia boleh belajar. And once complete self and peer with the feedback that you give, right? Contoh feedback. Ready ke? Semua dah ready? Saya nak migrate ni. Saya nak pergi kepada switch to evaluation phase. Confirm, continue. Okay, can you see feedback from your peers? Refresh your page. Okey, lupa nak ke klik ni. Saya tutup lah. Can you refresh again your page? Suppose in my in my experience when I use this one, student can see detailed feedback. Yes, no too from other peers, right? And comment as well. Let's see. I kena check balik lah yang ni. Because normally I do it in my my place. Student boleh tengok lah dia punya apa. So you can see whatever being commented by themselves and by their peers. So I need to find out what is the difference between your LMS and my LMS. Kau grade markah je kan? Tak ada detail komen tu. Ni nak collapse je kan? Ni refer pada dokumen. Cuba klik je. Yes. Okay. So mana boleh tak sama, betul tak? Mudah sama je. Okay, actually you need to click at that specific submission. Okay, cancel this one. Okay, this is lecturer view. This is lecturer view. So you need to click on this project, right? So it will itemize whatever being, being filled up lah. So there's no comment, then no comment. If there are comments, then you can see the comments. Okay? So you can see actually, Klik dekat title apa dokumen yang dia submit tu. Here. Okay, kat sini klik ni. Kalau project 1, project 1. Kalau yang ni assignment soga, yes, because saya tak assess, betul, tak keluar lah. Saya tak assess arti ni. Ni yang saya test you punya sistem lah semalam. Okay, dia akan keluar. So you supposed to able to see all detailed comments and assessment criteria or result from your peers. Dapat? Any problem? Anyone have trouble or problem to see? Your assessment. Oh. I haven't come to the level that, because I don't treat this as a kind of for my mark, right? It's kind of exercise. So I never come to the stage that, to the state that students are, you know, fighting each other because his friend give a very bad mark, right? Because it's not considered for the actual mark. So I never come to that. What happened is actually, dia dah tahu dah siapa saya, kau bagi makan banyak sikit lah. Dia pakai macam tu juga. Tapi macam saya cakap, kata, you tipu ke apa, tak ada faedah je. Sebab there's no, it's not official mark that I will take from this exercise. I'm the one who give the final mark. If you do bad, then you get bad mark. Yang tu I tak tahu dia punya rule or algorithm dia. Kalau loose ni, what do you mean by loose? Because I don't. Okay, like I told you, the way that I use self and peer assessment in my course is actually for students to reflect, to know where are their mistakes, and finally submit the best work of they can do, so I don't have to crack my head looking for the things that I want to give a mark, because it's already there. You got mark. Dapat. 100 orang, maybe dalam 2 jam kita boleh selesai. Bukan 1 orang 2 jam duk cari nak bagi markah kat mana ni. Betul tak? Submit dah tebal dah banyak dah cantik dah, color apa semua kan. Tapi tak memenuhi kriteria pemarkahan. Nak silap mata macam mana lagi, tak boleh bagi. Kosong. Patut mulalah datang merayu-rayu, cik nak minta resubmit lah, bla. Buang masa kita lah. Betul. Saya tak nak spend those kind of thing. Saya buat macam ni, okay, saya tak ambil markah ni, just untuk dia self-diagnose. Dia tahu kalau dia tak bagus kat situ, dia nak markah, dia baiki. Banyak student macam ni, bukan student pandai pun, student biasa-biasa je. Tak payah pun nak dapat markah dengan ni. Betul tak? Ada benda ni saya bagi markah. Kalau ada saya tak bagi markah, you argue saya balik lah. Dan saya kenapa tak nak bagi markah kalau dah ada perkara yang saya nak, standard yang saya perlukan, ada. Bagilah markah. Kan? Yes, markah tinggi. My graph, A and A minus skewed macam tu. Tak normal. But I can say that student resubmit. Tak ada akta kata student tak boleh submit lebih pada sekali. Selagi sebelum deadline, dia nak hantar 100 kali pun untuk saya review selagi mana saya larat. You buat lah, tapi kalau you larat lah, saya tak larat lah. 2 kali pun dah, kan, sebab saya buat self dengan peer ni. Saya tak bagi markah. Saya tak bagi markah. Saya guna self and peer assessment is actually for refining student works by knowing where are their mistake and lacking, and finally submit the one that I will finally give a mark. Okay. Nampak? Strateginya macam itulah. So, akhir sekali saya akan dapat assignment pelajar yang memenuhi kriteria pemarkahan saya, iaitu mencapai hasil pembelajaran. Itu pun tujuan. Kita ada kelas, budak mari kelas. Nak dapat pandai apa? Okey, ni. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dalam assignment dia ni ada tak 4 benda ni? Dapat. Capailah matlamat. Sama. Rubrik. Okey, rubrik. Rubrik you kena buat sebelum you nak upload apa-apa ni. You dah kena ada jelas dah apa kriteria pemarkahan. Kan? Rubrik tu. Dapat. Sama. Self-assessment and peer assessment, they will see the same rubric if you use rubric. Kan? But my experience, when you use rubric, students cannot differ between scale 1, 2, 3, 4. They cannot differentiate because they are not the subject matter. So you need to simplify it, to put it in yes or no. It's kind of checklist. Then it more practical. Dan saya pun bila buat assessment, saya tak pakai rubrik dah. Walaupun kata, kena pakai rubrik. Mana? Dia tak semestinya satu je. Kita boleh pakai marking guide. Marking guide ni, maknanya kita kata outcome dia, student able to explain effectively the concept of blah blah blah. Yes or no? Well, you get it or not? That's it. There's no scale, excellent, poor, whatever, moderate, whatever. So because if you want to put this, it's very difficult for you to differentiate. What's so different? You kena ada perincian pula. Banyak item, lagi pecah kepala. 100 orang nak. Ni mana? Lambat. And student pun tak boleh nak buat self-assessment. This is my experience. Because they fail to differentiate. Skill mana? Last kali, play safe lah. 5. Kan? Ataupun, hamba kata, tak apalah. Redor je lah. 1. So, meaning that student not actually practicing self-assessment. Maknanya, exactly, accurately, measure themselves where they are. If you are good, then good. If you are excellent, then excellent. Don't make it, kerja dia bagus, tapi sebab dia ni malu-malu kan, tak ada confident, tak dua, redor. Itu masalah orang kita lah. Redor, kan? Redor, dua. Tak apa dah cik, saya okey je. Tapi a good student, I mean, one that really very strategic, right? Okay, dia nak ke mana-mana pun first class. Pusing lah ke mana nak first class. I mesti dapat skor tinggi. Okay, ni pun ada juga yang kerja tak berapa bagus, tapi biasa first class ni kerja dia bagus lah. Saya jarang jumpa first class kerja tak bagus, jarang. Very rare, never found. Mostly those who have a good CGPA, first class punya ni, they are very cautious, very, particulars. Okay, dia akan fulfill apa yang kita set standard tu. Kan? Biasa macam tu lah. And I ada buat sikit kind of experiment engagement lah, emotional engagement dalam kelas. Saya pakai Google Form je. Setiap kehadiran saya pakai Google Form, tapi sudah kena pilih macam ikon lah. Dia rasa happy ke, rasa sekabut ke, whatever. Adalah empat pilihan emosi yang dia boleh pilih. Dia pilih, submit. Itu kira hadir lah, kira kehadiran lah. Kan? Okay. You know what? Interestingly, there are one particular student, because first class student, it's not everybody, right? So there's only very few, maybe one or two in your class, right? So same with my case. So I find out this one girl, whenever they come to my class, they always choose great, feel great, feel great, feel great, feel great. Every attendance, she fill in the form. So it makes me wonder, my class is not so great, but the way she set the mind, how to feel in the class, that makes the difference. The rest, according to their feeling. So dia memang layan perasaan lah. Kalau dia rasa boring, boring. So it makes me give me some insight that who are the master, you or your emotion? This lead to something that very interesting to me. That okay, whatever the situation, it is, even no matter how bad it is, if you set your mind to feel great about it, you will see the magic. You will see the extraordinary outcomes. But if you just feel based on the situation, saya rasa bosan lah, betul tak? Bosan lah lecture ni kan. Cik Aziman cik blebek, bla 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 bla, betul tak? Pilih lah, so bored lah ni, and it's a strong correlation with CGPA. Then it's not, I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think so. I don't think so. But it requires more data for validation. And I managed to publish one paper on this so-called emotional engagement lah. Kita tak pernah buat tau emotional engagement ni. Kita tanya, sihat anak-anak semua kan? Oh, okey, sihat. So, okey, dah makan? Dah. Okey, dah. Data mana data? Tak ada. Nak publish apa? Tak ada. Lepas tu buat survey. Survey ni, yalah, survey. Masa buat survey tu mungkin dia rasa bosan. Silap lah. Tambah-tambah masa penilaian pensyarah. Betul tak? On the session of kita jumpa pelajar tu, kita tak ni. Jadi you boleh guna ni. You boleh guna sistem kehadiran tu sebagai untuk capture juga how they feel. So I think it's very bila you buat macam ni, self assessment and peer assessment dekat item kriteria tu kan, mungkin boleh tanya, what do you feel about this exercise? Great, good, or whatever, right? Mungkin boleh tanya. Then you can capture some what you call student emotion, feelings about this engagement strategy, activity, right? Okay, so I think that's it. You can see all the details, right? But you cannot see who assess you, right? You cannot see, right? It's kind of blind. But basically, student boleh tahu lah. Dia pun cakap, I am. dia akan jadi macam tu when you take it as a mark. But for me, I don't take it as a mark. So, nak tipu ke, nak bohong ke, whatever, you will pay the consequence later on. Kalau you tipu, then you tak nampak apa yang you perlu betulkan. Betul tak? So, you submit apa yang you tak betulkan, maknanya sampai dekat saya, kan? tak ada kriteria ni, tak ada lah. Okay, I think that's it. Self and peer assessment. Benda simple je, tapi impact dia quite tremendous lah. For me, I save a lot of marking punya time. Bukan saya marking dengan kaki, kita marking memang kita particular, tapi oleh sebab apa yang kita nak lihat, nak bagi markah tu memang dah ada, kan? Kerja kita mencari tu tak payah spend too much time lah. Because it's already there, it's clear. So, and student also I advise to follow the marking criteria. Other than that, don't do it. Cover cantik, tak ada markah. So tak payah nak buat. And anyway, I go 100% digital, no printed. 5-7 years way back. Sudah memang happy lah kalau bab printing tak ada cost. Suka sangat. Sebab apa? Printing cost their money. Nak kalau print color pula. You know, I teach data analytics and visualization. We deal with colors. So you cannot print black and white and then expect me to see your visualization. Tak boleh. Submit soft copy lah, digital. So student very happy. Saving their money. They will thumb up your cost. Right. But giving stress, giving kind of high expectation, student macam ni lah. Student tak suka nak buat yang kata high expectation kind of task or assessment. Janganlah. Dia bagi mudah-mudah je. Tapi no, our role is actually give high expectation that demand them to really think in high order. And this is very challenging. Tak ramai student suka lah. First class student, no, never mind. Asalkan dia dapat apa yang dia nak, dia buat. Okay, so I think we can have a break. Pukul 12, baru pukul 12. Kita habis awal ni, boleh habis. Okay. Task untuk you you go through experience as a student to perform self and peer assessment, done. Okay, done. And you also experience getting feedback, right? Getting feedback from your peers, not yet from lecturer. Not yet from lecturer. So, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna create assignment. You pernah guna assignment kan? Assignment submission dalam LMS. You pernah buat rubrik tak dalam ni? Submit je. Lepas tu marking. Marking macam mana marking? Print. You print. Oh, bagusnya lecturer Uniza ni kan. Sudah submit soft copy, lecturer print. Banyak bajet kertas you dengan printer. How you do it? May I know how? Student submit macam mana assignment? Soft copy, hard copy? Soft copy, upload, and then how you do the marking? Baca dia, and then bagi markah. Rubrik sendiri. So you are splitting your rubrics with this assignment. Is it? Okay. So how many of you have create online rubric in LMS? You never do that. Good. So you will take away this after this workshop. You should able to create an online rubric within LMS by the end of this workshop lah. Take away, right? So how you gonna do that? Lepas lunch ke sebelum lunch? Sebab benda tu agak kena buat a little bit preparation lah. Dia bukan kata main macam tu. Memang sistem memang boleh buat macam tu, tapi what we want to put there, you need to do it, you know, not within a system lah. So you need to have it, the rubric first, right? I mean the draft, drafting that rubric criteria tu, huh? Yes. And drafting that takes time lah. Takes time. It's not simply you I don't know, maybe you are too expert in during rubric. Macam saya tak pandai. Saya tengok orang, okay. Dapat idea sikit, okay, kita pun draft lah. It takes time, so I think let's do it after lunch lah. Boleh tak? Kalau you dah ada yang lama punya, okay, settle lah, ambil je yang tu. Kita nak exercise after lunch, how to put your rubric online, so it doesn't split with the submission. You know what? I don't know whether your LMS is ready or not, but we let me show you. Okay, at the end, you should be able to do this. Okay, when you mark student works, right? Okay, here is the process of marking. So you can do the annotation here. For example, okay. So it will be great if you have a touchscreen device. Okay. And then you can give a grade based on rubric that you need to design it first. When you design it, during the marking, you can annotate on student work. It's like we do the marking on printed environment ataupun dunia analog ni. Betul? Student submit, kita pun conteng, betul tak? Ni okey, apa yang okey pun tak tahulah, kata tek. Lepas tu bagi markah, betul tak? Bosan je bagi markah. Kriteria tak tahu apa bagi. Itu saya dululah. Sekarang tak ada. Sekarang saya nak 3 muka surat je, jangan banyak-banyak. Kita nak tengok apa yang ni, jangan duk mengapu ni. Okey, student akan jawab apa yang kita nak. So dekat situ dia kita letak apa outcome dia, ada kriteria dia, ada tak ada, kita letak rubrik tu. So kalau rubrik tu dekat sebelah ni, kita okey, nampak? Dia punya apa? I kena pakai monitor besar sikit. Kat pejabat monitor besar sikit. Nampak tak dia punya rubrik tu? Kita pilih je dekat scale mana. Dekat scale mana? Kan? Masa kita set up rubrik, kita dah bagi dah. Scale ni berapa markah dia akan automatic kira. Tak payah nak kira manual. Ni, klik. Lepas tu, nak bagi komen lah kat bawah tu. Okay? So, you need to integrate this with the evidence. Okay? If you split it, contoh saya datang audit. Mana assignment pelajar yang you bagi markah ni? Dekat rubrik ni ada, betul tak? Ni mana kriterianya? Kat mana? Hard copy boleh buat, tapi hard copy masalah dia ada satu tu je. Kan? Kita kena work out digital. Bila digital, kalau kita split pula, dia tak join. Student akan nampak apa yang saya catik ni, saya conteng ni, student akan nampak. Dan apa kriteria ni, dia akan nampak. Jadi dia nak baiki ke apa benda kat mana, submission tu mudahlah. Kan? Ini yang final. Lepas self and peer, dia hantar assignment, bukan workshop. Dia hantar assignment dekat sini supaya saya boleh tapi markah final lah, tak ada dah, tak ada ubah-ubah lah. Nak resubmit, sorry lah. Kan? Nak resubmit tak ada dah. I don't have time for entertaining resubmission. Okay, so lepas tengah hari kita buat ni. Boleh? Menarik tak ni? That's why you kena ada touchscreen device. Wow, sedap nak conteng, betul tak? Conteng dengan mouse, saya rasa patah jari juga, betul tak? Contoh ni touchscreen, okey, katakan kita zoom sikit. Op. Mana eraser ni stamp, annotation. Tak payah save. Tak payah save, let's say create. Saya tulis je. Kan? Tu dia ada eraser dia kat mana Ni apa ni? Highlight. Yang ni kalau kita nak tambah nota. Okay, tulis ini. Annotation lah. Annotation. Okay. Only work when students submit PDF format. So make sure you set the instruction, you must submit in PDF format. Tak submit dalam PDF, you tolak markah. So dia akan buat. Kan? Kalau tak, if this submission is not in a PDF format, you cannot do this annotation. DOC, PPT, no. Only PDF. Only PDF. So that's what we done at our faculty. This is for final year student FYP project, right? FYP project proposal. So supervisor need to evaluate and comment. So this is my comment for my supervised students. So they need to improvise which part. Coordinator pun once kita dah key in, tak submit kan, tak payah tanya dah. Tak payah tanya lah, dah ada dalam sistem tu, dia boleh tengok situ lah. Ni tak ada follow up. Cik Aziman dah isi apa? Sebelum ni kita pakai Google Form. Google Form kan. Padahal LMS ni dah ada. Saya duduk bising-bising. Pakailah LMS kalam kita tu. Ada. Kebetulan dapat penyelaras final year project yang orang muda, bekas anak buah saya dulu dekat UMP. Dia mudah dengan kata sikit kot. Jadi saya kata pakai gini. Okey, sekarang ada banyak dah. Kerja dia dah jadi lebih efisien. Totally paperless. Bila nak assign jadual, nak menilai ke apa semua ni, ya Allah, student nak kena submit, lepas tu nak bagi dulu kat examiner, begini. Chaos. Nasib baiklah COVID datang. Tak ada dah student kat rumah kan nak submit benda. Online lah, submit online. Macam mana nak buat ni? Mulalah baru cari fikir jalan ni. Ini masa COVID baru buat ni. Benda dah lama ada dah. So that's what okay, in the meantime saya nak minta you punya masa. Boleh tak you jawab I punya questionnaire? Tapi bila you jawab ni, sebenarnya you akan reflect diri sendiri di mana kita. Okay, dekat sini saya dah letak Educator Digital Competency Survey. You klik ni kan. You klik ni dia akan pergi ke sistem survey UMP lah yang saya tengah carry study about digital competency among educator. Saya ambil komponen yang saya review tadi and you just fill up je. Okay. I plan to do nationwide lah. Saya nak tengok where are we actually lacking on. So we can maybe further improvise. Okay, so I think that's all for before afternoon session. Kita dah tengah hari. We need to prepare for the lunch. Pukul 2 nanti saya share macam mana nak buat rubrik dalam workshop dan dalam assignment. Nak buat rubrik tu. Nak masuk rubrik. Tapi rubrik tu kena ada dululah. Faham? Masukkan dia tu. Apa beza rubrik dengan marking guide? Macam mana nak ni? Saya advise marking guide lebih baik lah. Sebab rubrik ni dia student tak boleh nak faham, nak beza skill tu. Bila dia tak boleh buat tu, tak ada makna lah self assessment. At the end, student submit yang lousy punya job juga lah. For expatriate or international staff, I'm sorry sometimes that I use Malay. I hope you can get the flow, going to the flow with our this workshop lah.